everybody? It's $1 Million Wednesday. It's my favorite day of the week. This week, I'm flying solo. Kim's off, sitting on the beach, drinking Mai Tais and daiquiris, and I don't know what else. But I'm flying solo this week, but don't worry, we still have a great episode planned for today. Don't be too heartbroken about Kim. It's still going to be good, I promise. If you're not familiar with the $1 Million Case Study, we're building, launching, and scaling a physical products business up to $1 million in revenue. We're going to donate all the profits to Pencils of Promise, and our goal is to build 5 schools in developing countries around the world. It's a really exciting thing to be a part of. But what's even more exciting for you guys is we are totally transparently building this business. We're not leaving any part of it out, so you can see every step of what it takes to grow this physical products business to $1 million in revenue. So we currently have 2 products on Amazon. We have bamboo marshmallow sticks called Jungle Sticks. We have a hooded baby towel called Jungle Snugs. And right now we're in the process of launching our 3rd product, which is a sleeping bag in the UK market. So it's pretty exciting. So throughout today's episode, this one's a little bit different, but I'm going to give you guys an update. We're also going to take some live questions as well as some previously submitted questions. And with that being said, I don't want to waste any time, so we'll go ahead and get started. Excellent. All right. Session number 11 of part 2. We have a bunch more sessions before this, but our Europe launch is dubbed part 2, or the European edition. And if you want to catch up on previous episodes, you can find all those at junglescout.com/million. All right, so like I said, by the end of today's episode, we're going to answer all those questions that you guys have. These are like all the little tidbits that we've left out, or the things that we didn't really think about until you guys had questions for us. So we're going to go over all those questions. At the end of last week's episode, we gave you guys a form to submit those questions. So I'll spend about like 25 minutes answering those questions. I'll also spend about 25 minutes answering any live questions. So go ahead and drop them in the chat box now. I have Amelia, our moderator, helping me out monitor comments on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. So drop them in there. She's going to compile a list. I'll answer those at the end. So go ahead and drop them in now. No need to wait. And before we start doing that, I'm going to give you guys an update on the progress. But before we do, if you guys are familiar with the $1 Million Case Study, you know we give away free stuff every week. These are the winners from last week from session 10. So on God, he won the Jungle Scout Pro extension. William won the web app. And Len is the winner of a t-shirt. So Amelia, our community manager, is going to reach out to you guys and get you hooked up with your free stuff. We love seeing all the $1 Million Case Study Challenge updates. We really encourage you guys to follow along with our progress. You know, you can follow this whole thing, the whole case study, and theoretically build $1 million business yourself, or maybe something bigger, or if you don't have goals that big, that's fine as well. You can see how to do the product research. You can locate a factory at the same time that we do. You can follow these whole steps, or all these steps, just as we're doing it. And let us know on social, because Kim and myself and Amelia and the whole Jungle Scout team, we love reading about this stuff. And use the hashtag MDCS for $1 Million Case Study Challenge, MDCS Challenge. That way we can find it on social. And hopefully, if you do that, we'll probably put your picture up here with the rest of these guys. These are awesome pictures from Eddie, him and his wife, both on holiday, watching the case study. Gregor found 33 products using Jungle Scout. Wow, it looks like he's sitting on the beach or somewhere, at least somewhere tropical. It looks really nice. And same thing with Nadia, I guess watching with their little puppy there. So that's cool. So let us know how you're doing on social and use that hashtag MDCS Challenge. If you want to be entered in the free stuff we're giving away every week, so those are that's the software and the t-shirts, junglescout.com/million. We choose winners every week for all of 2017. So even if you're watching a replay, don't feel like it's too late. All right, into the meat of this. Let's talk about real quick where we're at on this journey, where we're at on the European edition, okay? If you guys have been following along, then you know we're telling you guys about every step with weekly updates of how it's progressing. So we started out, with our product research, then we found suitable suppliers. We decided on our product specs and ordered samples. We brought on an expert to help us with VAT and the EORI number. I know that's very confusing for you guys, so We put together an ultimate guide to VAT, to VAT. That's on our blog. It's written in layman terms, which anyone can understand. Once I understood it, I realized it actually isn't that hard. So I want you guys to have like that same amount of kind of like knowledge through it. And you can watch that episode as well. We set up our Seller Central. We worked with freight forwarders last week. We created the packaging that I'm going to show you now. And we made this announcement last week, but we also paid our deposit. This is an exciting milestone, right? We had to put down 50% to get the order started. We paid that 2 weeks ago, but those of you who are familiar with Chinese business culture or Chinese culture in general, they had a holiday last week. I think they were off from like October 1st to October 8th. So even we paid before that, I don't think any work really happened during that week. But they are expecting to be done with our shipment the first week in November. So if everything goes to plan, we will have this product to the UK before fourth quarter really heats up. So, it'll come in around the middle to end of, we can probably get an air shipment in around like the middle of November, which is cool and it's really exciting. So we're stoked to get it in there. I always get this question. So we paid with a bank transfer, but we did use Alibaba Trade Assurance. So Alibaba gives you a bank account number, you transfer the money there, and if these goods will end up to not be delivered, or they were delivered and they were like the wrong goods or something was drastically wrong, Alibaba would actually refund our money for us. That's why we chose to use trade assurance. And it was kind of cool. They were running a special in September where we actually get a free inspection for our products. So I haven't read all the fine print, but yeah, after all the units are done, instead of having to pay some other company $150 or $200, we actually get a free inspection. So that's sweet. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into our artwork. So one of the designers on the Jungle Scout team was the one who created this. However, I understand most of you guys, or a lot of you probably either don't work with someone or don't know someone in your network or friend or family or whatever else that can create this. I think it was 2 episodes ago where we went over some good places to find a designer, but you can find them places like Fiverr or 99 Designs or Upwork. These are all good places to find designers who do something similar. So, I think he just like spent like a half a day on this, but I think it turned out really nice. I think it's cool. Jungle Slumber is the name of our sleeping bag, built to endure, a little tagline we just kind of made up, but it kind of has like the outdoorsy, theme that you would expect, or I guess kind of be looking for a sleeping bag. So what you're looking at right now, this is an insert card that we're going to put inside of our packaging. So you don't have to do this. This is very optional, but it's 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches by 4 inches. And it's just going to be on thick cardstock. So like this big, you can kind of see me there. About this big. It's going to be on thick cardstock. This is just going to, so our sleeping bag actually comes like in its own like compression sack. On the outside of that, we're going to put a plastic polypropylene bag. It's just a plastic bag with a big label on the outside. And then this is just going to be floating around the inside. And just says, thanks for purchasing, blah, 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 on the end, on the back. We're playing up that we're donating all this to charity. And then on the back, we also said, hey, if there's something wrong with the order, feel free to contact us. If you like it, we would really like a review on Amazon. This is the sticker or the label that's going to go on the outside of our plastic bag. So this one's a little bit bigger. I forget the exact dimensions. Kim probably knows, but it would, like if I'm trying to guess, I think it's like maybe 25 by 15 centimeters, which is what? That's like maybe 10 inches by, I don't know, whatever. It's like, if you kind of still see me, it's probably about this big. And the idea is like if you're holding the sleeping bag vertically, I think it like takes up a pretty big portion of like kind of one side. So, and we just put this together real quick. We don't have to have any of this information on here. Or the things that we do have to have on here are the suffocation warning. Any bag with an opening bigger than like 4 inches on Amazon has to have a suffocation warning on it. It can be printed directly on the plastic bag, or it can be on a sticker. So ours is on the sticker. And we haven't put the FN SKU in there yet, but that little blank space on the bottom right, that's going to be our FN SKU, which is the barcode that Amazon uses to scan and identify this product that it's ours. So, moving right along, I am going to answer some of these questions that you guys have submitted for me. So again, the first set of questions here, these are all questions that you guys submitted filling out the form from last week. After I chose out 20 that seemed to be like the most common or maybe applicable to the most people, or like some of these questions we got asked like the same thing like 5 times. Like, okay, we definitely need to answer that. So those are the kind of the ones that I chose. So I'm gonna read out 20. After that, I'm gonna answer as many questions that I can that you guys are dropping in the chat box now. So, Cora Damone asks, opinions on a Canadian starting their first product. Should I sell on the US or should I sell in the Canadian market? People ask this question quite a bit, and you can exchange Canada for whatever probably their home country is. I would encourage you to, at least for your first product, to start wherever it's the lowest barrier of entry for you, okay? So, US by far does have the greatest amount of demand, but with that also comes the greatest amount of competition. And on any marketplace, even the very small ones like Canada and Mexico, Italy and France, there's still like enough demand there for your one product to really succeed, okay? So start wherever is the lowest barrier of entry for you, because the most important thing, I talk about this all the time, but the most important thing is actually just getting started. From that, you learn so much more, and then you can adjust kind of down the road. William Sorbral. I lowered my price below the competition to launch my product, to get it started. My product is €4 lower than the bestseller, 8 lower than the most famous brand. They all have over 100 reviews. Products are relatively the same. How many reviews do I need until I can increase my price? So, good question. And the strategy of when you first launch your product, pricing it lower than what your target price is something that I use myself. It's a good way to gain sales velocity, get additional sales. From those sales, you get naturally just get reviews. So, personally, once I have probably 10 or 20 reviews, that's the point that I probably start inching up my my price. But you can do so slowly, and you can always put it back down if you need to. So what's more important to me probably than how many reviews the listing has is how many are your keyword rank for your your primary keywords. That I would say is most important, and just like your overall sales velocity. So if you're selling at whatever your target was, then I would say to you can go ahead and start inching it up. One thing to keep in mind when you're adjusting your price is adjust it, then wait at least like 3, 4, 5 days or a week. Don't like sales on Amazon are like a roller coaster. Like one day it might sell 60 and the next day like 20, right? It can be like very up and down. So it's hard to know just from one day sales. So you want to have a few days worth of sales before you adjust it. So it's kind of my advice on that. Franco has a quick one. Does Jungle Scout work in Amazon Italy? Yes, Jungle Scout works in all North America, all of the EU, and India. So it's like 10 places or whatever. But so North America is Canada, America, and Mexico. Of course, all the EU stores and India. Sagar Patil, what are your views on selling low price items with extremely high demand? Average monthly sales is over 5,000 a month and low competition. If you can make the numbers work, make the margins work, and you're still making good money, then go for it. That's fine. Generally, when I look at lower price items that let's say sell for like $10, $12, $14, generally the margins are pretty slim. But if it works for you, then go for it. All right, the next question is from Danielle Gastulu, and Daniel, not Danielle. How accurate is Jungle Scout? Good question. And since we had this question before, I went ahead and pulled up a blog post that's going to help me explain this. So you should be able to see my screen again. Looks good. And the reason I want to pull this up, I wanted to show you this graph. Let me try to zoom in on this graph a little. All right. And what this graph is on the bottom is sales rank. And I assume when he talks about how accurate is Jungle Scout, you're talking about our estimated sales, because most of the other numbers, 80 or 90% of our numbers are straight from Amazon. The other ones are derived, like the sales estimates. So on the bottom here is sales rank. On the y-axis, so going up and down, that is unit sales on, you can think about it on a daily or monthly basis. So all those dots, that's saying for this product, it was ranked 2,000 and it had whatever, 22 sales that day. So that'd be like, I guess you can't see my cursor, but you can imagine where that's at on the line. So when you look at graphs like this, it's very clear that the bestsellers rank is directly correlated to unit sales. And it's also clear to me that there is a certain amount of variance with any particular given rank range, okay? So oftentimes I'll hear people say like, Jungle Scout overestimated my product by 10%. So I'm going to, so I think all Jungle Scout estimates are inflated, by like 10%. That's not actually true, because think about it, like the red line here, these are our models that we create. The points right above that, or let's see, the points right below that, that might be like your product specifically, where we overestimated by 10%. But also think there's just as many products above that red line that we've underestimated by 10%. So if you were to take all products on all of Amazon, then our algorithms are like 100% accurate, right? And this is actually a little bit of an outdated article now. I need to write a new one that talks about how much more sophisticated it is today. But if we were to take all the products, Jungle Scout's, like I said, like 100% accurate. But any one individual product does have a certain amount of variation. And then the other question I get oftentimes is, well, how much is the variation? And depending on the rank range, the month, and the category, it varies widely. So some categories for certain rank ranges will have a very tight grouping, and the variation there might only be like 5% or 3%. Other ones, like for certain rank ranges, let's say between like 10,000 and 20,000, it varies quite a bit more. So the variance for that might be like 50% or so. All this being said, if like you're losing me because you're not kind of like a data geek like I am, just know that like Jungle Scout's the only company in the whole industry that has like a full-time PhD data scientist and has programmers on their team that this is their sole goal, this is their sole job, is all they do is make our sales estimates as accurate as possible. Everyone else in the industry is just kind of makes it up, for a lack of better term. Like, I don't want to hate on them too much, but like I've talked to them and like they'll admit this to me. So I'm not just kind of like making that up. So hopefully that not only answers your question, but gives you a little bit more insight of how it's calculated, as well as kind of like the continued work that we're putting into this every single day and every single week to make these as accurate as possible. And one last note, we're working on something really, really, really cool right now that uses artificial intelligence to make this way better and way more accurate. It's not quite ready yet, but when it comes out, I'm gonna write a really good article to give you guys like an in-depth understanding of how it works. So hopefully that answers your question, and thanks for asking it. All right. I'm gonna have to be a little quicker on that one. Sorry for the tangent there. Casper Alger, what is the best stage to set up a corporation / limited company when selling on Amazon? Good question. So of course I'm not a lawyer, but I understand how this stuff works pretty well. So just understand like the huge benefit of setting up or incorporating your company is the legal protection it provides you. So if someone, God forbid, were to trip on my marshmallow stick and poke their eye out and then try to sue me because they said the tip on the end was too sharp, then by having that product underneath in a corporation, it protects my personal assets from like being sued from this person. So that's like the big reason you want to have in corporations. Of course, there's a lot of other small things too, but in my mind, that's like the most important thing. So you have to kind of think probably like how much like personal kind of net worth do you have? Like if all your net worth is like $3,000 in cash sitting in the bank, it's like, well, they don't have a whole lot to go after, I guess. So then I'd probably like a little more risk adverse. If you're like about to retire and you have like millions of dollars in savings and stuff, and it's like, okay, I probably need to set this incorporation immediately. All right. So I'll tell you what most sellers do. Most sellers, if they're just trying to get started and like move quickly, a lot of them won't set up incorporations, just sell under their name to start. And then after they've kind of proven the concept, made a little money, then they'll set one up. That being said, like I said, if you're more risk adverse or you're pretty serious about, going pretty big with your Amazon business, then you might just want to start one from the very get go. If you live in like it's different in every country, of course, but in the US, it's pretty cheap. Like you can set up an LLC, I think, for like $100, and that's it. So yeah. Can I add? All right. Casper asked that. Dilawar said, "Can I add my product to an existing listing?" If, like, for example, my Jungle Snugs, there's 3 variations. There's white, blue, and pink. If I were to launch another color, I can add that variation to my existing listing. If it's a totally different product, like you could kind of hack it and do it, but Amazon doesn't like that. At some point, they would probably split up that child. And if you're asking about adding your product to someone else's listing that's not your product, not your brand, then the answer is definitely no. Vincent Chan, is it right to send less than 20 items to the Amazon warehouse to test to see if the product's selling well? This is one of those questions that we got asked a few times by different people in kind of different words. Vincent said, I don't want to buy a huge number of products that I'm not sure it would sell. Is this a good idea? All right, so if you're following this $1 million case study, the method that I'm the biggest fan of, at least for growing a business, to $1 million in revenue, is private labeling products. I then am bullish about my launch strategy, which is coupons and aggressive PPC and etc. And then in return for all this hard work that I've done up front, I have a listing that makes me money for years and years to come. So with that strategy, like we're ordering like 1,000 sleeping bags, right? And I plan on probably for the first 50 sleeping bags giving away like deep discounts, like 75% off, in order to get my sales velocity really moving quickly. I plan on very aggressively bidding for PPC. And the result of this is I'm going to lose money like the first month, but keep in mind, like my goal here is to build a business to $1 million in revenue. It's not like whether that 1 month I made money or lost money. I'm looking for long-term revenue and long-term profits, not short. I don't care about short-term losses because of marketing expenses. So the reason I tell you all this is because if we were to only order 20 units, like I said, I was planning on giving away like 50 or 60 or whatever with coupons. So there's not even enough inventory there to do like my launch process. So that's why like we can't just send in like 20 of our sleeping bags to see if they're going to sell, right? Because that's like part of our launch is doing all that. So instead that's why like I emphasize the product research so much, because I'm very confident it's going to sell because I have all these numbers and I have this blueprint and this system that I know works. And that's why I'm willing to do a large order and a large launch, and in return make good money off this. So to answer your question, it's doable, but you can't do it with the same mind frame that we're using. If you wanted to go that route, I'd probably choose things that like maybe only were selling 5 or 10 units a month, but had like no competition, or maybe like only one other seller. You would have to find products and opportunities like that if you wanted to go that route of just ordering like 20 units of a bunch of stuff and throwing it all into Amazon, seeing what sticks. So yeah, I recommend the process that we're going through on the $1 million case study. Robert asked, are the giveaway coupon codes generated by JumpSend, or do you generate them inside Seller Central? You generate the coupon codes, Robert, inside Seller Central, and you copy and paste them into JumpSend, and then they're distributed through JumpSend. And there's a video that walks you through step-by-step how to do all that inside JumpSend. Shay Sheetrip said, while building a new FBA business, what do you think is better? Building a strong brand, which means lots of products in the same niche, or building several brands in different niches? I personally am, if your plan and your primary sales channel is just Amazon, I'm actually not a believer in building a cohesive brand with lots of products in it. As you can probably tell, because we've launched marshmallow sticks, we've launched sleeping bag, hooded baby towels, and now we're launching sleeping bags, okay? And they're all 3 like named different brands. That part doesn't really matter as much, but the reason that I'm selling these products is because using the data, I realize that these are good opportunities on Amazon. This is a product with high demand and low competition. It's something I can easily get into and start selling it right away. And so and no one knows about your brand. No one's searching for jungle sticks, right? They're searching for marshmallow sticks or s'more sticks or s'more, whatever. You get the idea. They're not searching for my brand. It's not a well-known name brand. And if you want to make your brand well-known, you need to spend a lot of money on marketing outside Amazon. Instead, we're just focusing on Amazon because this is where all the sales are at and all the customers are at now. So that's my strategy. If I wanted, my first product was in, we could call that maybe outdoor cooking utensils. If I wanted to build a brand just in outdoor cooking utensils, then I would sell marshmallow sticks and maybe I would serve burger flippers and I don't know, maybe whatever. You get the idea. The problem is if I just wanted to build that niche, a few of those products, those are probably junk products that aren't a good opportunity on Amazon. There's probably no demand or really high competition. So it's why limit yourself to those? Why don't you just sell what the customers are buying? That's what makes sense to me. And that's what works for me and all the brands that all the products that I've launched. Mohammed Javed said, why choose Jungle Scout over other competitors? Good question, Mohammed. So I already spoke a little bit about the estimated sales, and I'm very confident they're the best in the industry. We definitely, have put way more pride into it. The Jungle Scout team now is 35 people, and you have to think all these people every day are working on just improving this product. So with that, everyone tells me that ours has the best user experience. Everything just works and it works well, where it seems like the competitors, a lot of people, I'm not out there kind of using the competitors all the time, but everyone tells me it's kind of buggy, inaccurate. They don't have as many products as what we have. I don't think anyone's updating their stuff as frequently as what we are. We're constantly doing updates every single week. This whole team's working on it with the best customer support in the industry. We are answering tickets 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we've split up our customer support team. Some live in North America, some live in Europe, a couple live in Australia. And because of this, we're able to answer tickets 20 hours a day, and we're answering them 7 days a week. Constantly providing all this, valuable content for you guys. So I'm not real big into the whole us versus them thing, but those would be a few reasons to think about. I guess one last would just be, we were the original product research tool in the industry. So we've had the most time to kind of refine all of our data. We have the most data. So there's just a few things, but feel free to check them out. I'm pretty confident at the end of the day, you're going to end up choosing Jungle Scout, but feel free, to kind of look around, check out the other ones, all that stuff. Linda Natili said, hey, Greg, when I looked for manufacturers on Alibaba to request quotes from, I was only able to find 2, and one was actually a trading company. What would be your advice in a situation like this? Good question, Linda. So I would contact both of them, see what they have to say. Something else you can think about is even if the specific product's not advertised on Alibaba, what kind of company would make this? So, I don't have many items sitting next to me, but we'll say a glass. So if I was searching for a certain type of glass and I couldn't find it on Amazon, maybe special pint glass or whatever, I could contact other factories making glasses and ask them if they can make one to my specification. So that's kind of probably a little bit of a poor example, but for example, we'll use my sleeping bags. If I search sleeping bags and there's only 2 factories, I would probably contact factories that were maybe making you have to think what kind of machinery would also make a sleeping bag? Well, maybe jackets, because jackets have a similar shell to a sleeping bag. They have insulation inside of them. These factories have sewing machines and people who could sew well and all that kind of stuff. So maybe I would contact companies that are making jackets and maybe try to give them my specifications. So that's something you can think about. And at the end of the day, if you just still can't find anyone to make this, then you'll just have to find a different product, unfortunately. Danielle said, is it viable to use Facebook offer / giveaway groups to hand out coupons and generate product reviews? So specifically with the Facebook offer one, at Jungle Scout, we have someone who's very, very good at paid ads. He does all of our stuff, not for the Amazon FBA products, but just in Jungle Scout in general. I would consider him definitely an expert. And we tried the Facebook offer thing specifically for our jungle sticks just as an experiment. We do a lot of experiments all the time so we can figure out the results and share them with you guys kind of firsthand. So we're always doing tests and experiments and stuff like that. With the Facebook offers, it was costing us, we were able to really optimize them quite a bit. But the best we could do was, I think we were giving away coupons for like 60 or 70 cents per person. So for 60 or 70 cents, we could find someone to get our coupon. However, it seemed like only about 1 out of 4 people were actually using the coupon. So let's say 70 cents times 4, that's $2.80. So it cost us $2.80 to find someone to purchase our product on Amazon using a deep discount, okay? If that sounds like a good option for you, you can definitely go for that. However, what we chose to do is, of course, JumpSend's our own program, so of course we like it, but for JumpSend, for $30 a month, you can sign up and give away as many coupons as you want, and there's over 100,000 shoppers on there. So if you're gonna do more than 10 giveaways through Facebook offers, that's $28 is 10. It's at that point, it would just be cheaper to use JumpSend for $30. Then you also get the email campaigns and all that other good stuff. So is it viable? Yeah, I guess you have to decide whether that sounds like a good amount of money for you, if that kind of fits into your budget. It is definitely possible. So yeah, as far as giveaway groups go, to be completely honest, I'm not real familiar with them, just because, like I said, of course we do have JumpSend, so we always find the shoppers through there. So I don't know. I can't speak to the giveaway group one too much. I'm sorry. All right. Cassis Tiburus. I apologize for butchering a lot of you guys' names probably. But they said, what is the most important thing you have to take care of when creating your listing? Good question. There are a lot of important things with your listing. However, if I had to choose the most important to take care of, it would probably be on the keyword research. So keyword research is very important when creating your listing. The reason for that is it's important for you to figure out what search terms buyers are searching for, because that's ultimately how they're going to find your product. So once you've done your keyword research and you understand that, and we have a few past episodes on this, so it's not that scary if you just follow our step-by-step instructions to do keyword research. Once you find out those main keywords that people will be searching for, I'd say the most important thing would be making sure to include all those in your listing to make sure that you're showing up in those for the search results. Rob Hale asks, are you planning on making an extension for other browsers? We might make it for Firefox in the future. However, we found that 90% of people now just use Chrome. It's my browser of choice, so maybe for Firefox in the near future. There just hasn't been too much demand for it. Len Estrada, I'm only on session 2, so my question is related to product research. I noticed Kim said she found 42 products initially, then culled it down to 5. What was her process from going from 42 to 5? Kim, where are you today? People are asking you questions. Get off the beach. No, I think I can answer this one for you. She made a spreadsheet, and I'm pretty sure this was covered in an earlier episode that you can go back and watch, but I'll give you a quick rundown. She made a spreadsheet, and on there she put demand and competition and price and margin and general notes. And then at that point, she tried to figure out, okay, which ones have the highest demand with lowest competition? Which one is that ratio the best, right? The most demand with the least amount of competition. And then she also looked at other things how much of a potential headache could this problem be? So if there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to break and things like that seems like a headache item. If there's potential patent issues, then that's a headache item. So I think she got rid of those. Yeah, in general, though, I'm pretty sure those that was her thought process of culling it down from 42 to 5. All right, and God Kana said, Amazon in India offers a global selling option through India. Should we register for that, or just register on Amazon.com to sell in the US directly? If your plan is just to sell in the US, I would just register directly for Amazon.com in the US. To be completely transparent, honest with you, I'm not familiar with the global selling option through Amazon India. So I can't be too much more help for that. My apologies. Vivian Yen, what's the easiest way to ensure an existing product you are sourcing from a supplier isn't a copycat product and not infringing on US patents. Okay, so the patent thing can be kind of tricky from time to time. In part one of the $1 Million case study, we interviewed an IP attorney, and he was actually very good at explaining a lot of these tips and tricks and the research in layman's terms. So he did a nice job. So I would recommend you go back and watch that one. But I'll also give you a few tips here real quickly. Of course, you can search the patent database. Just Google like US patents, and the top one that comes up should be like the .gov site. That's the official place, okay? Also, Google has like a patent search engine. You can look at that. Both those things are like kind of like tough as far as the legalese goes, though, and that like it's kind of hard for the average person who's not doing this stuff on a daily basis to really understand, like, wait, does my thing infringe on that part or not? So some other tips I have for you guys are A, look at the other products out there and see if they either have written or stamped on them, like patented, patent number, blah, 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 or patent pending. See if it's advertised on their website, see if it's advertised on their Amazon listing, and then you can also just search for the product name with patent and see what shows up in Google. So those a lot of times are the easy ways to find out if something's patented. Another pretty good way is like, if it's a very unique product and there's only one person selling it, there's much higher chances that it's patented. If there's like 20 people selling like what looks like to be the exact same product, it's probably, there's no guarantees with any of this stuff with patent and IP issues, but it's probably not patented because the person who owned the patent probably would have gone after those other 19 people selling a copycat of it. So hopefully that helps. I know it can be a little bit challenging at times. So, all right, so that's all my questions from the ones that were submitted through the form. Now I'm going to do some questions that were you guys submitted in the chat box over the past 20 minutes or so. All right, so on YouTube, Mix High said, or sorry, I guess just Mix said, "Hey, Greg from Germany, thank you very much for all your great content. Absolutely, thank you for tuning in and checking it out. It has helped me a lot so far. My question, is it possible for us to get on the first page? How big is the risk of getting kicked off?" Absolutely. It's definitely possible to get on the first page. So Jungle Snugs is on the first page for hooded baby towels. Our marshmallow sticks, if you search marshmallow sticks right now, we're at the #1 spot. So that's really good. So yeah, absolutely. How big is the risk of getting kicked off? Oh, wait. I assume you're talking about on the first page for a specific keyword. If you're talking about on the homepage of Amazon, I've never heard of anyone on FBA seller doing that. So I'd say, no, that's not possible. If you're talking about the first page for your main keywords, then yeah, of course that's possible. What's the risk of getting kicked off? The main thing that goes into account when Amazon's deciding how to rank people for keywords is their sales velocity. So that's how many units they're selling a day, as well as a few other things like conversion rate, of course, like keyword relevancy. So, if you have really high sales velocity and a good conversion rate, then you generally stay around kind of where you're normally at. Actually, right now for the hooded baby towels, pink was our best seller. We just ran out of stock yesterday. And actually, I think yesterday we were probably in spot number like 5 for hooded baby towels. And I actually saw today that we were probably dropped to like 7 or 8 or something. So just from one day of having decreased sales velocity, we have started to slip. But we'll get that back after we get the pink ones back in stock. They should be in any day now. All right. Another one from YouTube, Mohammed Alamankawi said, "I'm in Europe. Do I have to be a registered company with a business bank account in order to sell in Amazon, whether it's Amazon US or UK? Or I can just carry on as my personal bank account?" I don't know for the EU. For the US, you can use just a personal bank account. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know for the UK one. Another one from YouTube, Samantha Faye from New York. "I didn't get my question in before, but like to throw out, would like to know what it means when your ACOS, which is your advertising cost of sale, is over 100%. What am I doing wrong?" Sorry, two in the same line. When your ACOs is over 100%, don't panic. It just means you need to optimize it more, okay? And this takes time. Like, to really like get my PPC campaigns where I can pretty much set them on autopilot, I optimize them for like 3 or 4 months, okay? So don't panic. I'm sure there's some keywords in there that are performing much better and much cheaper than others. So these are the ones you want to keep. For anyone's like where your ACS is over 100%, you probably want to be decreasing your bids on those and see if you can still get impressions for a cheaper price. So yeah, if I was you, I would look into PPC optimization a little bit more. Again, we have a few guides and in-depth stuff on our website to help you with that, and just on our YouTube channel. All right. Another one for YouTube, Politic Mix. At what point do I take product photos? When they are finished in China with a Chinese person, or to get one piece to my house before activating the listing? And assuming here the samples, are not the exact same thing you're going to sell. They generally aren't, because usually like your logo's not printed on there or whatever else. So I normally, when the first unit's off the production line and finished, I ask my factory to send one unit either to me or to my photographer. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it. Or you could ask them to do one to your photographer, one to you. Sometimes they charge you for shipping on this. Sometimes they're nice and don't. My Jungle Snugs supplier is actually really nice about sending like samples all over the world she's never charged me, which is pretty nice. All right. Matthew Garapi says, important question in all caps. When will Amazon allow product video on the listing? Will it require Brand Registry 2.0 to be allowed to be uploaded on our listings? Amazon has started to roll out the ability to upload products for FBA sellers in a beta program. Some people are in it, some people aren't yet, but I imagine everyone's going to be in it pretty soon. It does require the new brand registry, which is the brand registry that requires a trademark. All right. One from Facebook, Goran Susanjar. I apologize, that one got cut off. All right. Peter Zimmerman from Facebook just ordered my first shipment and moving to Thailand to be a digital nomad. Right on. Congratulations, Peter. I know Peter tunes in. I've seen his name a lot on all the $1 Million cases. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's very exciting. If you hang out in Chiang Mai, there's like tons and tons of Amazon sellers there. So that'd be a cool place to be like surrounded by kind of like-minded individuals. All right. One from YouTube. Trader 8 says, anyone going to the Canton Fair in Guangzhou next week? Could a Jungle Scout user meeting be planned? Unfortunately, I'm not going to Guangzhou this year for the Canton Fair. I've been a few times in the past. It's a great experience. I would encourage anyone who has the ability to do so. It's by no means required to sell on Amazon, but it's really cool. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be at this one. We have a lot of stuff going on with Jungle Scout, so I'm heads down just focusing on making Jungle Scout better this quarter. So we won't be planning the Jungle Scout meetup just because, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. We have done them in the past. You might have seen them. That's why you asked. But nobody from our team is going to be there this year, unfortunately. All right, one from YouTube. Mr. H Health 1. New seller central account and first product. Seller performance review before a listing is created. Can't get into my account during the review for the FNC or shipping address. Any advice? Yeah, this, from what I understand, this happens to like 99% of people who create a new seller central account now. So unfortunately, you just have to provide the documents that they're asking for. They're trying to make sure that it's like you're a legit person, you have a legit address, and whatever else. I think in the EU, they have to verify that your company's legit. So I don't have any advice besides just give them the documents that they're asking for, and at that point, it's just kind of a waiting game. I know it's frustrating, but unfortunately, there's not too much you can do, I don't think. All right. All right, Goran, here's your complete question. This is from Facebook. My question is, do you think we should order a product we can't afford 3 months supply up front? and we think we'll run out of stock. Yes, I think you should still order it. Running out of stock, it sucks because your product's no longer selling and therefore you're not making the money from it anymore. But it's not that big of a deal. Like once you get back in stock, it's pretty easy to get back to like the ranks that you were at before. So I would say don't let that discourage you from just getting started. All right. All right, from Facebook, Dean Charles Parker Jr. How much did you have to invest before you started to make a profit on your Jungle Snugs or the bamboo sticks, for example? Good question. Both of these, we have all the numbers in previous posts. If I remember, both of them were a few $1,000s. Like I would say $3,000, maybe $4,000 to get started. Okay. That being said, both of those products we sent a small batch air shipment since it was part of the case study. We were excited about getting started where that wasn't very cost effective to do so. But I'd say to do the private label thing and kind of go through the same process that we are, the minimum that I usually tell people is about $2,000 is how much to get started with it. There are lots and lots of success stories that people who start with like $100 or $500 or whatever else, but so that's definitely possible, but it's going to be harder to do. If you have like $2,000, $3,000, then it's pretty easy to do, like use the exact same methods and processes that we are. All right, let me see. All right, Dhruva Grant from Facebook. When do you involve an inspection company? Before or after paying the upfront deposit? There's lots of different types of inspections. The most common inspection to get done is just going to be one final inspection before the shipment goes out. And that's just make sure is that the products are as spec, of good quality, that they really loaded, the 1,000 units into the container or whatever else. That's the most common inspection. The second most common, I'd say, is like a DURPRO. That's during production. So that'd be like after like 20% of the units are done, they do an inspection then. The benefit of that one is if there's anything wrong, it's much easier for the factory to fix it now before they're done with all your units, okay? So that's the second most common. I'd say the third most common would be a type where you're actually sending an inspector out to a factory to check like how legit, how clean, how ethical they are, what kind of certifications they have. Most FBA sellers aren't going to do this. This is generally like once you're kind of up in the big leagues, and this is the type of inspection probably mostly Nike and those other guys are doing when they're, finding a new inspection. So to directly answer your question, you're probably going to involve an inspection company once all your goods are finished and you're just doing the last inspection before it gets shipped to you. All right. Raphael said, I'm launching my 4th private label product. First of all, congratulations. You're doing awesome. All right. After giving away 100 units, the product is still ranking on page 8 for the main keyword. Is Amazon not ranking my product well because all the sales were promotions? Good question. In my experience, Amazon does it. In my experience, it doesn't affect Amazon's ranking algorithm whether products were offered with a coupon or not. Sometimes, like I guess you said it's only 4 days old, so sometimes it just takes time to start ranking for these things. Something else you want to check for is probably like, is this main keyword used in the title? It sounds like it should probably be in the title if it's your main keyword. Let's see, what else could potentially be wrong with this one? Like other times it just kind of takes time to start like ranking better. If it's only been 4 days, I would give this some more time. With Amazon's like calculations like in like sales velocity and how they're ranking products for keywords, they definitely take into account different like time frames, like how well has this product been selling over the past 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, probably even like 6 months. So it sounds like you probably just need to wait a little bit longer and get some more sales kind of just like over time a little bit more. What are, if any, the requirements for a product with an internal lithium-ion battery? I know there's some headaches involved with lithium-ion batteries, both from Amazon and also from your freight forwarder. However, I've never sold any products that have lithium-ion batteries, or I've never sold any products with batteries in them in general. So I don't know. I apologize. Yeah, you're going to have to look for that somewhere else. All right. Nikki said, since you are selling in Europe, why not set an account with Payoneer or World First in order to get a better rate on the exchange instead of through your bank? We may do this. We haven't gotten to that part yet. I know that you do get better rates through companies like Payoneer and World First, and we're going to look at that more down the road. Something that I always preach, and I also do myself, is not to get ahead of yourself. So, right now, we're not too concerned with our first payment yet because we're still, we just put down our deposit. We have other things to worry about than optimizing exchange rates. I can take care of that down the road. Can I change my brand name later if I run into problems with copyright issues? All right, so I guess just to be clear here, generally a copyright issue wouldn't affect a brand name. So copyright, all right, so obviously I'm not an IP attorney. I think I understand this. I'll try to give you the best explanation possible. Copyright, that's generally talking about if you were to go to Jungle Scout website, you were to copy one of our whole blog posts and paste it on your website, that's copyright infringement. We own the copyrights to the content that we create. You can't steal it and use it yourself. Same thing, if I take a photo, I own the copyrights for that photo. You can't use that photo without my permission. Otherwise, you're infringing on my IP. And same thing, this also works for songs and music and types of things like that. So just a brand name, generally, from my understanding at least, that wouldn't be you wouldn't be worried about copyright infringement, but you potentially would be worried about trademark infringement. So if someone else uses that same brand name and if someone else uses that same brand name and it's for the same type of product, regardless whether they've registered that trademark or not, you should not be using it. Okay. So I guess to answer your question, I think you could change your brand name inside of Seller Central. It may require you to email seller support and maybe provide some documentation. But I would recommend right now just do some Googling and see if anyone else is using that brand name. And I guess, okay, this is of course where it gets a little fuzzy or whatever, but if I wanted to use this brand name for my sleeping bags and someone else was using that same name for a lemonade stand in California, that would probably be okay. But if someone else was selling other camping accessories, that would not be okay. So at least that's how I understand it. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Did you need FDA approval for your hooded baby towel? No, we did not. Is it worth signing up and paying money for classes offered by people such as Steve Chu from My Wife Quit Her Job? I laugh a little bit there because Steve Chu is a friend of mine. But this is totally up to you, okay? Generally, personally, I pay for a lot of courses. I probably spent upwards of $10,000 a year kind of on education for myself of courses that I paid for, all right? So obviously I do them. Oftentimes, depending on the kind of content, oftentimes this content is scattered around the internet that you could figure out yourself if you want to search hard enough. And courses that are often paid for oftentimes put this into really structured, easy to read, organized content, which for me, the convenience factor is there. They oftentimes provide other value, maybe a group, so you're surrounded by like-minded individuals. So yeah, it's kind of up to you, in your budget. Yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of learning and continued education, so I pay for them, but probably depends on your budget and what the topic is and that type of stuff. All right, my products are on the way to fulfillment center and should be there in about a week. Should I start PPC now? An Amazon rep told me it takes around 5 days for the ad to gain momentum. You could set up a PPC campaign right now, but you're not actually going to get any impressions until it's in stock. So sure, you can set it up now, but it doesn't really matter since, yeah, you don't get any impressions unless you're in stock. That was from Kendra on Facebook. All right, Dips from Facebook said, "Hey Greg, I've launched my product in Germany 6 months ago and I'm ranking on page 1 for my main keyword, but my sales are only 200 units per month. My competitors are 1,300. What can I do to improve my sales? Right now, I'm trading at a loss because of all the ads and low product cost to bring in sales." Good question. It sounds to me like your competitor is likely ranking for a whole bunch of other keywords that you're not. So keep in mind, like our main keyword for our towels is like hooded baby towel, but we rank like decent for it, maybe like spot 5 or 6 or something else. However, I don't know for sure, but I would guess only a small fraction of a percentage of sales actually come from that keyword. So maybe like 10% of our sales come from that keyword. The other 90% are other keywords or long tail keywords that sometimes are hard for you to know. So like, a lot of people will probably search for like a pink towel for baby that's good for baby shower. And like I might be number 1 for that particular keyword, and I might get like a number of sales. So like you have to think about, we're getting sales from all these different keywords, not necessarily just your main keyword. So my advice to you would, first of all, think to yourself, why would people potentially want to purchase your competitor's product instead of yours? Are their pictures better? Are they offering it at a better price? Is it a well-known name brand? Is it what else is better about their product? And see if, first of all, if you can improve your product or likely just your listing. And at that point, maybe do some additional keyword research and try to find out like what other things you could be ranking for. Those are the first steps that I would take. 200 units a month is pretty good. So I would also probably be thinking about how you can optimize either, like, it sounds like you probably need to increase your price or maybe optimize your PPC spend, because 200 units a month is still good. At this point, it looks like you just need to figure out how to make it more profitable. On Facebook, Cindy said in all caps, "What shipping company are you using?" In the past, I've always used Flexport as my freight forwarder. We'll use them. I'm going to use them for the baby towels or the sleeping bags as well. That being said, they've worked out well for me, but you can use any freight forwarder. Some other popular ones are like Shapiro, or if you go to Freightos, which is just like the word freight with an OS at the end. Freightos is a place where you can think of it as like a kayak or like some of these other like travel sites that like they get prices from a whole bunch of places and they show you all of them. So like you could find a freight forwarder from there too. But overall Flexport's been like, I don't know if I haven't like compared their prices in a long time. They could be the best priced. I kind of have a feeling that I don't get the best prices through Flexport. However, one thing that I will give them credit for is their user interface is very user friendly. It's very easy to communicate with them. So like overall, the convenience factors are very high for me, and I really appreciate like the ease of use. So I guess even if I'm not sure that I'm not getting the best price, but I kind of have a feeling. So even if I'm not getting the best price, like for me, the convenience is there. What is the influence of the use of Jungle Scout on the profitability in e-commerce throughout fulfillment by Amazon? Good question. I don't know for sure. That's kind of a hard thing to know for sure or answer. A lot of people, I think, kind of like on these webinars and like watching educational content, they feel like everyone on Amazon is using Jungle Scout. So like if a product's there, like everyone knows about it, blah, 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 things like that. The truth is, so we have quite a few customers. However, we've only reached about 0.5% of all Amazon sellers. So Jungle Scout's actually like very small compared to like how big Amazon and how big, like how many Amazon sellers there are. So there's something like I saw a statistic a few days ago that I think there's like I forget exactly, but I think like 4,800 new sellers sign up for Amazon every single day, and I forget how many millions of Amazon sellers there are. But yeah, just give you like I was doing this because I was like, I wonder how much bigger like Amazon can get. It's like holy crap, like not even 1% of Amazon sellers are using Jungle Scout, and that just goes to show that like kind of like if you're following along with our case study, then like you follow our content, you're talking to other people, kind of like in our community, it makes it seem like everyone on Amazon's using it. But it's not necessarily the case. I wish more people were using it, but it's more so just like our community. So, all right, one last one from Mohammed El Mokawi. It said, "Thank you very much, Greg. I have to say that I attended many webinars from competitors, and I never liked or even considered buying any of their products as they are all sales focused, where you are all about really teaching. Thank you." So it wasn't a question, but I think it was a good thing to end on. We're 1 minute past the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys haven't already done so, please smash that like or love button below, depending on where you're tuning in from. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. That'll make sure you know about all the updates as we come out. From time to time, we do little updates in between $1 Million Wednesdays, which is fantastic. You'll also be notified of $1 Million Wednesdays. Next week, we're doing an episode on photography. So Kim's going to be back. She'll be off the beach next week. Hopefully not too hungover from all the daiquiris or whatever she's drinking. She's going to teach us we're going to do one about photography. It's going to be really good. So I encourage you guys to join. If you haven't already done so, sign up at junglescout.com/million, enter your email address, and you'll be notified of all the upcoming webinars. Hope everyone has a fantastic day and a good rest of the week, and I will see you next time.